Hello and good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's evening here in Johannesburg, and I'm sure whatever part of the world that you are, it's quite a lot of people from Canada, the US, and the UK, Europe especially, tuning in. So you're on a different time zone, and I'm sure it might be totally sometime, a different part of the day right now with you. My name is Solomon Nizange Shams. Thank you so much for joining me on Solomon's Temple. I really do appreciate it. Wherever you are tuning in from, if you can give me a shout just so I know that you are here and I can see you. You can just post a comment and let me know where I see people from Namibia. There's Emma from Namibia right now. People are clicking in and coming in. Just let me know where you are. Good evening to you. Let me know where you are. You're tuning in from. Shout out your city. Shout out. There's Anthony from Cape Town. You give me shout out from your city. We have Cheryl from Boston in the US, Boston, Massachusetts. We have Becky from Nigeria. Thank you, Becky. Everybody just tuning in. Thank you so much. Yesterday, salutations from Botswana. Thank you, Kenny from Botswana. So we got people everywhere just tuning in. Hi, bro. Hey, Ove, doctor. Good to see you. Costa from the Northwest. Thank you, guys. Yesterday, I made a video around the videos of someone that I told you I met last year, a younger pastor who's really been serving the Lord. And he released a video, and I spoke to him last year, and he released a video about what had happened to his family, his wife to be precise, how he's lost his wife to Apostle Johnson Suleman, and he hadn't seen his wife for so many years, about 2 years actually, and his children, 3 lovely children. Now, that in itself is so much pain. If you are a father like me, or like you yourself, you know that that is not just supposed to happen. Now, he released that video, and we went through that video blow by blow. A lot of people commented on it, and I posted that video on YouTube, because I couldn't do YouTube live directly. So there's a lot of, people on YouTube that are actually always waiting on it. And this afternoon, to tell you the truth, Johnson Suleman and his cronies, his team, reported the video to YouTube, and they did whatever it takes. Somehow they lied to YouTube, and YouTube took down the video. That's the current state of things. Now, that is not unusual, because that's what all these charlatans and fake prophets and all these so-called men of God do. It's something that I normally do not discuss, because I just deal with it behind the scene. But that's what they do. They took that video that I posted yesterday up, saying there was a flyer there that is really funny. So you get what I face. And that's how sometimes I get into legal issues. Like I told you yesterday, I have a legal case right now that I have to get about 50,000 rand to sort it out. And some of you has helped quite a lot. You send money. Thank you so much. I have a legal case. And just to give you a background, before my guest is in the studio already, waiting to come on, just to give you a background, these are some of the things that I've dealt with over the years, and some of the things that I've said. This is a South African radio station where I say criminals have taken over the church. Now, criminality is when you take a younger pastor's wife away from him. That is criminal. And that's what Apostle Johnson Suleman did. And I also embarked on a 3-day protest against false prophets in 2019. I went through different cities in South Africa. And there was a Bible verse that actually got me into trouble. We went to court several times because I quoted a Bible verse that was now attached to what I had said. And they said it was defamatory, and I was sentenced to prison, 20 days in prison, suspended for 2 years. Now, I'm not afraid to go to prison for this gospel, for this truth. I'm just giving you a background, just so you know what I'm facing and what our guest also has been facing, or he's going to face, And I did a march against false prophets, and Bushiri actually took us to court. And all that required money. and I've been spending my own money, never asked for money until now when I said, look, I need to ask for help and support because this thing is becoming bigger than I am. You know, I had to move my family at one point from home to another location because there were death threats. People were coming to our house to kill us. So I'm soliciting for you guys to help us to pay this legal cost, which is about 50,000 rand. If you're in South Africa, this is the account details. NL Asham, net bank account number. Everything is there. I'm going to post it and pin it so you would see it. And if you are international, there is a PayPal, is just my email address, solomontalks@yahoo.com. I would appreciate it. This is not something that is so big. You know, I'm redoing this because the video that I had done yesterday, that we tried to analyze the cry and the pain that Mike Davids, the younger pastor, who had served Apostle Johnson Suleman for about 16 years, what he was going through, posted that on YouTube, and Johnson Suleman and his cronies went to YouTube, lied to YouTube about certain things, and YouTube brought it down. And I'm just appealing right now to see if I can get the video back on track. But what better way to do this than to have the victim, let me call him a victim himself, here to tell his story. And we know that nobody is going to stop that because it's his story, so no one is going to stop it in whatever way. So, before I bring my guest in, let me just tell you something. Okay, at the banking details again. Let me just say something. And Apostle Johnson Suleman has been in scandalous news. No, this is not the first time. It has happened over and over again. It has happened with a girl called Blessing Otobo, who, this is a headline from a newspaper. Blessing Otobo, Stephanie rather, Otobo releases screenshots of topless FaceTime chat that she had with Johnson Suleman. If you've been following the news, it was out there in the news a couple of years ago. And then there was Apostle Johnson Suleman in messy sex scandal, and the police are probing. And then there's the same girl, Stephanie Otobo. She says, I stand by all my claims. Cleric got me pregnant. That is, Johnson Suleman got me pregnant. And I think she aborted the baby. There were quite a lot of stuff in there. Now you have to understand who we're dealing with. We're dealing with somebody who is rich, powerful, connected with the government and all that. But so wherever he goes, he keeps leaving so many victims. But I want to introduce you to my guest, who himself is a victim. You know, what a way to pay a younger person for his faithfulness and diligence than to sleep with his wife, take his wife away from him, destroy his family, and destroy his ministry. So I just want to introduce my guest tonight, Mike Davids. Mike, thank you so much. I'm glad to see you, that you were calm down. Watching your video yesterday, you were very emotional and there was so much pain. How do you feel today? After yesterday, the news is all out there. I know there's so much pressure. How do you feel today?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Mr. Solomon, for having me. There is no better way to tell them, how I feel at the time, other than, to continue to ask God for grace and for his help, in the circumstance, because the injustice done to my little baby, is not something that can be forgotten, in a short time. It's something that will live with me for a long time to come. So that's basically it. That's where we are.
There's quite a lot of people. We're going to get to some of the things that you raised yesterday. And just to build a background, just about your love relationship with your wife. How long have you been married? And what was your marriage like for as long as you guys were married?
Well, we were 2019, or if I would say 2020 was supposed to be 12 years of our marriage. You know, probably December 6th would have been our marriage anniversary. You know, but for the separation, I think by 2019, you know, in which the separation took place, you know, that will be 11 years. You know, but basically, my marriage was good. We as long as we were together, you know, just like, you know, how every marriage has its ups and downs and all of that. You
Yes.
know, we kept going, you know, praying and trusting God for grace, and God was faithful, you know, until what happened, basically.
Mm, mm. Now, you met, you know, I want to go through some of the stuff you raised in your video, and some of the early signs that you saw that there was some sort of an entanglement between your wife and Johnson Suleman. You know, you
Mhm.
mentioned your wife when you met her being a virgin, you know, and you mentioned the hotel, you know, where they are, you know, should they normally go to pray, or no, where they normally go to pray. And anyway, that's the second one. When did you notice there was something wrong, and what was sort of like the discussions that you guys had around it?
Well, basically, I think from the time I introduced her to Apostle Johnson Suleman, who I had met, I think barely few months, you know, before then, weakness is different from wickedness. Are you
Yes.
hear what I'm saying? Apostle
Yes.
Suleman's situation is not a function of weakness; it's a function of wickedness. Because I'm not the first person he has done this to. There are so many victims out there who probably cannot speak up for reasons of fear, you know, of his, position and influence and connections and all of that. But I have made up my mind that this is my story, this is my truth. Whatever it will take me, I will fight for my children, I will fight for my home. So basically, my wife, you know, at some point, you know, would mention to me of his invitations of her, you know, to certain places, you know, come and stay with me, can you come to Benin, you know, so locations and all of that. You know, basically, I never really you know, I had this Catholic charismatic renewal background. You know, back in
Yes.
the days, they were more like the deeper life, you know, very spiritual and straight to the point. So that was the kind of background I had. So it's even on Christianly for you to even imagine that for somebody you refer to or you esteem and dear as a spiritual leader to even, you know, would want to contemplate having something to do with somebody who is a daughter, let alone, you know, your son's daughter or fiancé, as it were. You know, so I would basically just overlook it. I'll say, maybe Papa is lonely and all of that. He probably just needs company because of his frequent travels and all of that. Just feel free. You know, but after some point, she began to mention to me, you know, of his interest in her, you know, and all of that. And I said, well, at this point, it appears that you may really have to be careful, you know, about your closeness and all of that. But she was basically like, there is really nothing like that, that she have everything under control. You know,
Mm.
from one point to the other, after some point, she was no longer opening up to me, you know, for probably for fear that, okay, maybe I was beginning to process the whole thing, and it was probably beginning to affect my mood and all of that, you know, until we eventually got married. All of this was even before we got married in 2008, December 6th. Then after we got married, because I started out pastoring in Warri, Delta State here in Nigeria, I was posted from there to Benin, branch 2, Urubi. Specific. That was where I was pastoring. You had branch 1. Branch 1 was being headed by Pastor Temidayo then. That one has also left the ministry because of things like this and all of that. That one has left. You know, so then eventually I was after some time I was posted from there to Osun State. Then it was in Osun State. I was posted to Osun State 2010. All right, you know, so that was when about the time Celebration TV, you know, starting and all of that, Rema for Living, you know, where the plans were underway basically and all of that. So for reasons of, you know, the fact that my wife was, you know, a part-time staff with NTA Iraq, but you can Google it, is there on YouTube, the NTA Europe. When you have NTA Benin, and they extended the stations to some of these villages around and all of that, and they had their offices there. So that was where she was working as one of the broadcasters,
Yeah.
And so Suleman now felt that, okay, that she would be instrumental to the development of Celebration TV and all of that. He asked her to resign, which she did, and all of that. So as of 2009, we had our first daughter, whose name is Michelle. God blessed us with that girl exactly November 24th, 2009. So then into 2010, when we're in Osun State now, we had just moved to Osun State, barely about 6 months thereabout, to 7 months, when she will have to travel back and forth to Auchi, even to Lagos, doing meetings with Apostle Suleman and team and all of that. I basically felt neutral about it, considering the fact that she had a baby and all of that. So when she came back on one of the days, that was when she told me that she really needed to talk to me, about something that had happened. So I was like, go ahead. And she said, this is what happened, that Apostle Suleman lodged. Everybody who are hearing me from around the world, or who probably have been to Auchi, Edo State, they know Uyi Grand. Uyi Grand is a popular hotel in Auchi, Edo State. As a matter of fact, that's one of the hotels that hosts, some of the guests that's come from Asad Auchi and all of that. So that was where he would basically lodge some of his guests, and what you have. So that was where she was lodged. So she told me 2 days later, because her conscience was really pricking her, that this is what happened. And that when she told me, I died as a man from that time. That Apostle Suleman came to her room, and had carnal knowledge of her, slept with her. So I was basically like, where was my daughter? That was the first question I asked. I said, where was Michelle? She said Michelle was on the bed, pushed aside. That's one thing I'm not very sure how much I can live with it. So I died as a man from that moment. My pain was, it's not something to even imagine, it's not something to consider. Irrespective of what she says on social media, irrespective of how they try to manipulate it, I know what I'm saying with all authority. This was what my wife told me, and from
No,
that time, things were basically never the
actually,
same.
we're gonna get to a place where we're gonna talk about your wife and what she has said in social media, and just so everybody would know, his wife doesn't grant interviews. Just so you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some people are wondering, you should have called the wife to speak and all that. We tried to reach out to her, but the impression we got is she's not ready. She doesn't even want to. The video that she actually did, the 9 minutes video that she did, she didn't post it herself. Some other person posted it and she shared it. Just so you know. And what do you do when she doesn't want to speak to the media? Then you obviously, and that's why I posted her video earlier on, just so people would know. If I was just trying to be one-sided, I wouldn't post her video. But you mentioned something, Mike, and for me, it's having a daughter and having a mother and having a man who is not her father on top of the mother on the same bed. How old was she? And how did that break you? Because we live in a society where there's a lot of abuse of girls and abuse of minors and everything. People can do some very despicable things. I don't care whether you're a bishop or an apostle, and that's what she told you herself, because she was trying to come clean, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously.
How did that break you? Your daughter was on the same bed, sleeping on one side, and then the mother your wife was on one side, and then there's a man who you regarded as a father, as a leader, on top of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I said in starting, that's something that I will have to live with for a long time to come, because it left a dent on my soul. And that's one of my motivation for what I'm doing. It does not matter where Suleman takes me to. I will repeat what I have said 100 times.
Yeah.
Because I know what I was told, and I know the impact that had on me even till this very moment that as we speak. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One thing I also need us to understand is that Apostle Suleman is not a man of God. He's not. The Apostle Suleman is not a man of God. You
Yes.
see, because I viewed that, that incident beyond just wanting to sleep with a woman. There must be some reasons or probably occultic purpose attached to it. And some persons have spoken to me, in confidence to, like, by that action, that child comes under a curse, probably, that only the father of that child can break that curse, or probably
Mm.
a genuine man of God. These are the two persons who may want to minister to that child. And that's why the first thing I'm going to demand, is to release my children, first of all, for a DNA test, because I need to be sure that these children are even my own in the first place.
Actually, what you're saying was quite true, because yesterday when I was doing the broadcast and playing some of your videos, someone in the US actually said, "Hey, how are you sure those kids are your kids?
Obviously.
If he has been
Obviously.
sleeping with your wife for that long, how are you
Yeah,
sure the kids are really your kids?
of
You've
course.
loved them, you've cared for them, you provided for them as a father, you've
Mhm.
done your best, but it's always good to know." And to be honest with you, they said in Nigeria, I saw it as a couple of weeks ago, that Nigeria is actually the country, number one country where actually women cheat, where the children, a lot of kids do not belong to the who they think is their father.
Yeah.
It was a couple of weeks ago. If people Google it, you're going to see it somewhere.
Mhm.
So I think
Mhm.
it's the right thing to do.
Yes.
It's the right thing to demand. And you were saying you haven't seen your kids for how
This
many
is
years?
1 year. This is 1 year going to 2 years. 1 year, 6 months thereabout.
How old are they? So you don't know how they're doing in school. You don't.
I
How
don't
old are
know
they?
nothing, because Apostle Suleman threatened me that if he ever sees me close to my wife and my children, that he would take me out. During December, just this December that passed, I practically didn't stay in my house because of some threats that got to me. Some persons had to meet me in confidence and say, "Hey, you have to stay away from the house because this man has vowed that he will take you out." Because he actually threatened me in December 2018, in last Sunday of December 2018, that if I leave Omega Fire Ministries, he gives me 2 years, that my wife will leave me and that I will lose my life. This was the
Mm,
threat he made to me. So the first
mm.
one has happened, which is my wife leaving me. And March this year, which will make it the second year that I left, because I left in March 2019. So that's why I have to reach out, because of the threats and all of that, for everybody to come to my aid. Because as I speak, I need help, because I've been receiving attacks left, right, and center, and all of that, which probably I've spoken to when we spoke last year. I also mentioned them to you.
Yes, we're gonna get to that, because obviously, there's gonna be quite a lot of help there. What kind of relationship did you have with your wife from the early stages of your marriage to before she left the house, according to your story?
Well, I think my relation, it was a very healthy relationship, even though there were some challenges. Of course, they were not challenges that basically just disagreements and all of that and reconciliations.
Mm,
And it was basically not beyond that. But one thing I knew, even from, there were certain persons who were also trying to reach out to me to, like, be very careful, and all of that, because it appears there is something, more than you understand, that is going on between your wife and Suleman. See, Omega Fire Ministries, do your own research. Things like this are not new in Omega Fire Ministries. There are a lot of
okay.
people who are victims. It's something that we are used to, But when it comes to people's wives, because we knew him, really into ladies, young ladies, even teenagers, and all of that. But pastors' wives, people's wives, and all of that. These are things that is on the lips of a lot of people. It's just that people are afraid, they can't speak up, and all of that. That's just the reason why. Ordinarily, if you do your own research, or maybe you come to Auchi at those states, do your
Yes.
research, you'll be surprised that it's on the streets everywhere. It's not hidden. It's not something that's hidden.
So
It's his
it's public
lifestyle.
knowledge around that area
It's public knowledge. It's
that
something that
the man is an adulterer, the man is a fornicator. He sleeps with young girls, teenagers, married
almost anything
women,
is sketch.
everybody.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I see
You
quite a
know.
lot of people from Auchi here. They're coming here and commenting. You could see they were sent on some fake accounts. I'm blocking some of you guys, so just so you
Mm-hmm.
know, you would disappear very soon. That's why I'm using my phone here.
Mm.
Blocking some of them because they were sent to defend him. Now, Mike,
Yeah.
how is your wife? What kind of a woman is she? Because I don't want people to get the impression that she's this evil woman, you know. Even if she had made mistake or whatever, what kind of a woman? You married her for a reason. You saw something there. That's why you fell in love with her, isn't it?
Yeah. Truth be told, the woman I married is not the woman that is talking out there.
Right, right.
My wife is a very, wonderful woman, very amazing woman, very intelligent woman, very caring woman. All right. So that is why I am amazed at the change that I'm even seeing myself with the way she's defending another woman's husband on Facebook against her own husband. It's something that, I can't really, I find it very difficult to process. She's a very wonderful woman. She's somebody who stands for truth. And that's why I am of the considered opinion that Suleman has used something on that woman. She has been hypnotized. Something has been used on her. That is not the woman. The woman talking out there is not the woman I got married to. She's a wonderful woman. She's a beautiful woman. Very kind at heart. Somebody who hates injustice, hates oppression. So for her to have run away from her matrimonial home with her 3 kids and went out there to be with another man is something I can't understand. And people are like, come of it, this is not normal. Something is wrong spiritually. She must have come under some occultic hypnosis. That is not the woman I got married to. And that's why I'm crying out to the public. I'm crying out to everybody, deliverance ministers, people from around the world, those who can help, please help me. Irrespective of whatever she is saying, those things have been doctored. She talked about me beating her and all of that. Nothing like that. I'm not a violent person. I could be angry. And once I'm angry, one thing I learned when I was much younger is that when you are angry, you walk away. So that has really helped me. So I'm not a physical person.
So you've never beaten her up, abused her, she left the house?
There's never been anything like that.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
Because that's what she's been claiming in the video that she released.
No, some of those things, we have had disagreements, heated arguments. I have never raised my hand on her because I am somebody, who is completely against any form of violence towards women. I don't like it. I would rather that you break whatever relationship you have with the person than to have her beaten up. Why should you beat up a woman? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make no sense. There was a day that we had some kind of argument, that she held my clothes, all right, and I had to forcefully move away, and she almost fell. I apologized for that thing for almost 1 week. Let alone raise my hand on her. I'm not that kind of a person. So whatever she's saying, one thing I know is that God is judge, and I know one thing for sure, that whatever Suleman has used on her, it will leave her very soon. Because I'm praying. It will leave her. She must be free from Suleman's bondage. She and my children, they must be rescued. I don't care wherever he has taken her name to, or what maybe it's her stash he wants to use. Whatever it is he has done, God will deliver her. God will bring her out of it. She's not the first person that God has delivered. Or that God will deliver.
Paint the picture for me again when you return home and found out that your wife has left.
Yes, I think that very morning, I actually went to the mechanic. Before I went to the mechanic, I'd gone to drop off my children in school, because usually I go to pick them up from school because her car was having issues at the time, because we had the school in Kano where I was pastoring before I left. The school was actually our school. You see that? So she was in charge of the school. She was the proprietress, and she had people working with her and all of that. So once her car had issues at that time, while we were working to getting it fixed and all of that, so I had to go drop them off in school. So I had gone to drop them off in school that morning. Then I went straight to the mechanic. So I had to work within the time frame, between the time I dropped them off to when they will finish from school. So I had to put my mechanic under pressure to I need to go get my children from school. So they had to finish my car on time. So I drove with speed back to school at about 1:30 thereabout. Only for me to get to school, it was the headmistress that approached me. And she said, Mama left because the headmistress was also somebody who was a member of my church. So they would refer to her as Mama. So she was like, I said, what about Michelle? What about the kids? Are they ready? Let's go. He said, no, sir. Mama actually left with them in the morning. I said, left with them? What happened? She said she wasn't feeling too well, so she had to live with the children to the house. I said, oh, but she didn't call me. Why would she not call me to let me know she wasn't feeling too well so that I could find a way to come get them? So I said, okay, no problem. Let me just drive to the house and see how they are doing. Maybe probably she was too weak and all of that, you know. So only for me to get to the house, I didn't see them. You know, I had to now check the children's room. I noticed, you know, the children's clothes were rumpled and all of that. I knew something was not right. So I had to start calling her cell phone. It was switched off. I did everything. I had to call the proprietor, the headmistress, but I said, problem that that was all she told her and all of that. I said, okay, I'll continue trying. So that was it. And before you knew what was happening, because prior to this time, remember that I said I resigned, I left the ministry in March, owing to certain issues that, you know, border on, you know, my misunderstandings with Apostle Suleman over, you know, certain evidences that got to me that he wasn't comfortable with. That he had to call the entire pastorate, took off his shoes from his foot, and pronounced a curse on me and asked everybody to stop relating with me. You know? So, and that was it, basically, that I left in March. So between that March and that July where she left, we were already planning to relocate to Abuja. We were planning, making plan. I didn't know that there was already another plan going on between her, behind me, and Apostle Johnson Suleman. How did I know? Because when I couldn't find them that particular day, July, where she left, 2 weeks later, I saw her. I saw that she had relocated to Abuja. Somebody told me that she was in Abuja, you know, that she was in Abuja, and that before you know what was happening, I'm sure it is people, maybe the way people were talking, that's why she pulled them down. All these things were on her Facebook. She posted the Jeep she was using. She posted the car, the house they were now living in. She posted, you know, several things and all of that. Life is good. And in December of that same year, she had released a video of how she had returned to her father in the Lord and her mother in the Lord, Apostle Johnson Suleman. She has pulled that video down as well. So when they told me she was in Abuja, she posted those things. And I said, oh, now I see what is happening. So I had to now pick my things and left there. So that was how it eventually happened. Up until today, I never saw them. I've made efforts, you know, from time to time to try to reach them, but because of the threats, I had to stay off.
And did you get families involved? One of the things that she had said was, you know, you asked for your bride price, your lobola, what we call it here in South Africa.
No, you know, all of that is nonsense. It's trash. One, actually, I think there was a pastor, one of the senior pastors in Abuja here a few weeks ago, who approached me and was like that. He met her. She said, I was the one who asked for the bride price. You know what I did? I said, see, I'm tired of talking with this lady on this matter. I just called my elder brother and I gave the pastor the phone. When my elder brother finished telling him how everything went, okay, now let me tell you how it all happened. Okay, now, immediately she left, people advised me, you know, here in Nigeria, we have a culture. And they said, what you need to do is that you need to alert the family immediately because you were the one they handed her over to. Because if you don't let them know and anything happens to her, they will hold you responsible. Yes. So I had to call the mom immediately, and the mom was like, what is going on? What happened and all of that? I said, well, you ask your daughter. You know, we had just, you know, I'm not sure what is really going on because we had misunderstandings that we have resolved and all of that. Obviously, that has nothing to do with her leaving, so I wouldn't know why she left. So the mom said, okay, I should drop that. She was going to call her. Only for the mom to call me back. I said, I've called her, and that she has called her, and he asked her, where are you? She said she's somewhere in the Word. I said, somewhere in the Word. So the mom now said, please, I want to advise that whatever it is, you guys should find a way to settle it. Before you know what was happening, the next day, which was on a Sunday, this was okay, I think a few days later, on Sunday, I think it was Sunday afternoon, the elder brother called me from UK and was like, their mom mentioned to them what happened. That's the overall elder brother. So he now said, what actually happened? So I told him, I said, nothing much, you know, aside. No, he said, were you people having misunderstanding? I said, since this is just normal, the elder brother. And I said, those ones are not even issues now. There are people who even have more serious issues and it doesn't even. However, I will speak to her and get back to you, which is on Monday.
Yeah.
Do you know till today that as I speak to you, the elder brother never called back? You know, so after about 1 year,
so he was like the go-to person from her family side, isn't it?
Of course, she must have told
Okay.
them she doesn't want the marriage and all of that, probably owing to the assurances that Suleman has made to her. So it was all clear. It was all clear. Everything was clear. So eventually, 1 year later, some of my friends now reached out to me, and including my family. They were like, this is 1 year because of our traditions and all of that. They said, her family is silent, we are silent. That is not the way it's supposed to be. Now, I now said, how is it done? Because I've never done something like this before. So my mom now said, okay, she was going to reach out to the eldest person in our family who knows tradition. So the man now called and said, how it is done is this. God is my witness that everything I'm saying this evening, I speak under God. I have no reason to lie against my wife. All right, so that one called me and said, how it is done is this. If a woman leaves a man's house for whatever reasons, she will go to the man's mother's house. But for whatever reason, she gets there and the mother to the husband says, you cannot stay here. She becomes justified to go to the mother's place. But in a situation whereby she left your house and she's outside, that's a different case traditionally. But however, where we need to start from is to first of all send delegates to her family to ask her if she is still interested in getting married. Because irrespective of what may have happened, everybody had assumed that, okay, this is like 1 year now, we need to know the way forward. So I now said, okay, so we sent delegates to the mom. And so when they got there, the people that went there, I can send their numbers to you, you speak to them yourself. So when they got there, it was on a Sunday, and they spoke to the mom while they were there. The mom now said, okay, that there's no problem, that she's going to reach out to her to ask her if she's still interested in the marriage, that my family should come back the next Sunday. All right? This is the first time I'm actually recounting what happened about that bride price issue. That that we should come back the next Sunday to get the reply, which is a period of 6 days. Do you know that my family left there on Sunday? On Monday morning, my wife called me. She called me and said, well, I'm actually calling because my mom reached out to me last night that your family came to my house to ask if I'm still interested in the marriage. The reason I am calling you today is to let you know officially that I'm no longer interested in that marriage and that your family can come and get the bride price. Just the way you are quiet, Brother Solomon, that is the way I was silent on the other side of the phone. She said, as a matter of fact, that when she drops the call, she's going to authorize the family to return our bride price. I was in shock. So I said, okay, no problem. So she dropped the call, and I now called my elder brother. So that one I said, oh, you mean she called you? I said, yes, she just called. See, and all of that. And I said, okay, since the mom said we should come on Sunday, let us still wait for that Sunday. By that Sunday, they will go there to get the reply from the mom. Guess what happened? On Monday, that same Monday morning, she called me. On Tuesday, the family called my elder brother that the bride price is ready. Everybody was in shock. Like, what is going on? And they told my elder brother, as a matter of fact, that the bride price was ready, that they should come pick it up on Friday. Only for that Friday to come, they called my elder brother again that when he's coming, he should be aware that there are papers from a lawyer that he will need to sign. My elder brother said, what papers? When the traditional marriage was conducted, we didn't sign no papers. So why are there papers? Of course, my family obviously refused to sign those papers. And that was how we collected the bride price. And that was how everything happened. But she had forgotten, that our marriage, the marriage certificate that was issued to us from the church, came from the courts.
So there's a legal part of it.
There's a legal part of it.
That's the traditional part of it that you sorted.
That's just the part. As a matter of fact, even the lawyer said, tradition or no, the bride price or no bride price, all of that is barbadash. Your marriage is still
obviously. Once you get to a legal perspective, it means the constitution of the country endorses it.
Of
course. The constitution of the country, obviously, overrides that. There is a marriage that has not been annulled. But even before you get to the legal side of things, they wanted you guys to sign a paper before you get the bride price. What do you think was the content of those documents? Were they trying to guard you and make you keep quiet? And were they trying to get you involved in certain things?
Maybe that's what they were trying to do, because for the fact that my elder brother refused completely to even talk about that, so he wouldn't look at the papers. Because ordinarily I was telling them that, they said snap the papers and send to me. He said there is no need. All of that is nonsense. So they never give attention to the papers. So my marriage is still subsisting as we speak. It has not been dissolved by any court of competent jurisdiction.
Yes, obviously. Yeah. She cannot be remarried, without dissolving that. That's going to be itself an offense to the state. And I see quite a lot of people here commenting. There's quite a lot of people from Auchi here that was sent,
Obviously.
by their guys. I've been blocking a lot of them. And some of them are telling me, they're saying this is who Mike is. Bottom line is Apostle Johnson Suleman, not based on what Mike is telling me, based on my investigation from 5-6 years ago. Johnson Suleman went to a strip club.
Okay.
And he picked a girl from a strip club in Rivonia, Johannesburg.
Okay.
This girl came to me, wanted to sell the story. She didn't even know who he was. He told her he was a Nollywood actor, because they go to the shopping mall and then people are saying hi to him, because she was not really a Christian, so she didn't know who he was. And he took her, paid her manager, took her for the night. Anytime he comes to Johannesburg, he's with her. She showed me photos of them in the hotel. From the hotel on a Sunday, from having sex with this girl, he goes straight to church to preach.
Okay.
So don't come here and tell me about who Johnson Suleman is. Johnson Suleman is a charlatan, talking to all the Auchi and all the sons and the daughters of this fake apostle, of this man who is a criminal, who is a witch doctor. That's who he is, a witch doctor carrying the Bible. He has destroyed the life of this gentleman here, Mike. So let's even leave that alone. And I'm telling you, based on my investigation as a journalist, what I had discovered before now about him. And have you sat down to ask yourself why every year there's going to be 1 or 2 scandal around women around him? You think that is normal? And you have the guts to come here and defend him? Who are you? Who do you think you are? Go and read your Bible and stop following this man who is a big-time charlatan, who goes behind the scene and does stuff that you do not know. Some of you guys are ignorant, and I forgive you. Some of you are naive, and I forgive you. But some of you guys, but some of you guys who are just, what he's doing. He's sleeping with women. Some of you, he has slept with you, and you come here trying to defend him. Some of you, he slept with your sisters, your friends, and you come here. What gods do you think you have? That witch doctor from Auchi? Don't you dare try that. Judgment is coming on Johnson Suleman. And people like you who are defending him, that judgment is going to come down over him. And because you are supporting him, it's going to affect you also. Just so you know. We're not joking here. We're talking about serious issues that is destroying the lives of the people of God here. So don't come here and tell me about somebody who is a babalao in Auchi and who is a witch doctor who set up a place where he's just consulting and taking money from people, and you're telling me some things about him. Please. Anyway, Mike, I'm just getting angry because I know who Suleman is, how destructive that guy is. And then people would think they have the guts to come here and you would try. No. We have to support Mike. That's what we need to do. People who are watching, who are in government, who are in the police, or who are business people, you should be thinking, if you are a Christian, you should be thinking, even if you're not a Christian, you should be thinking, no, there was injustice that was done to this young man. How can I help him? That's how we do it together. That's how we do it. Not to keep covering the scene of some person who is unrepentant and using money and influence and power everywhere to silence people. Do you know how many people he has destroyed? Do you know how many marriages Suleman has destroyed? Do you know how many people Suleman has killed? Let me even put it that way. Do you know how many people Suleman has killed? If you don't know, then you got to shut up and just listen, and listen to somebody who has been through all this, and ask ourselves, how do we support him? That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. How do we support people like Mike? Doesn't deserve it. Whatever his imperfections are. Mike,
Yes, bro.
what drew you closer to Suleman? And when did you discover that he's not who he says he is?
Well, I think basically, like I said, I met him in 2003, and I was ordained 2006. Then from that time, I think into about 2010, 11, that was when I started basically, becoming more aware of his escapades with women. But we will just generalize it like, no one is perfect. You understand my meaning?
Right.
Yeah, like anybody you can have weaknesses and all of that. We'll just explain it away to like, let's keep him in prayers and all of that. But as the years, went by, it began to degenerate, and the kind of stories we're hearing, if you watch what is happening right now, even during that Stephanie Otobo saga, you'll find out that most of the senior pastors were silent. If you go and check the videos, they didn't say anything. The reason is because they know the truth. Even as we speak now, I know the feedbacks that we have been getting. Many of them, condemn his actions.
Behind the scenes, you mean?
Behind the scenes, but they will never speak up publicly. Yes. They are talking to people, even as well. Yes. I know the pressure that I've been under. They are talking to people that are like, the way Papa treated this guy is not nice, it's not good. They know the truth. They know. They are tired. Many of them eventually, that's why many of them are resigning now. What's happening in Omega Fire Ministries now is resignation. Pastors are leaving from around the world. And more will leave this year.
Yes.
It's not a prayer because they are tired of, as a matter of fact, this my case is more like the last straw that broke the camel's back. And they were like, if he did this to Pastor Mike, who was a voice in this ministry and has served him for 16 years, and we are here, you gave the wife a branch, and the guy is no longer here. How about now? What is it? Then you can do it to any other person.
That's what I want to actually talk about. He was your senior pastor. You had issues with your wife, and then he gave your wife a branch to pastor.
Yes.
I don't understand that logic. Okay. I don't understand. He gave your wife a branch in Utako in Abuja, Nigeria. And he was the one that groomed you. You served him. You were in Kano. And you have issues. Instead of saying, look, hey guys, let me give you time. Go sort out your issues out. Right? And then we continue your ministry. Marriage is higher than ministry. The first ministry you have as a husband and as a wife is marriage. Not church. Not preaching.
That's what he taught us.
Not prophesying. That's not the way. That's not biblical. Now I'm trying to understand how he called her, and then you can pastor this church here. That's what I'm trying to understand, because even in the video, also 9 minutes of video, a lot of what you raised here was the adultery between them. In the 9 minutes video she released, she never disputed or said anything about whether she was sleeping with him or not sleeping with him. 9 minutes. She was crying. I don't care how you cry. All I want to know is the truth. I don't care how long you tried. I don't care how emotional you get. All I want to know, did you do it?
Okay.
For 9 minutes, she never said, everybody go watch the video. The video is there. She never said if she had an adulterous relationship with him or not. And that left me with a huge question mark. And just to try to understand, what is this? Why did she even make this video? She didn't post it herself. Somebody else posted it. So you see, there's a lot of inaccuracies around it?
Brother Solomon, first of all, I have two things to say as regarding that. One is that I've been seeing the videos she is releasing, refuting the things that I said. She will hear from my lawyers. That's number one. Then number two, since she is denying it and she's, let me even put it that way, that she's saying nothing like that ever happened. As long as my daughter lives, that is if she's really my daughter, and I am the father, from tonight, it is a pronouncement from my mouth that as long as that girl lives, she will never be free herself, which is the mother, the injustice she did to her. May the earth continue to fight her. May the wind, may the elements of nature come against her. If that child was deserving of that injustice that Faith and Suleman did to her, it will be well with them. But if she was never deserving of it, and I am the father of that child, the pronouncement goes from my mouth that she and Suleman will never have peace till they die, and they will die of strange diseases. Except I'm not the father of that child.
Until they repent. If they repent, then God will forgive them.
Then God will forgive them. Then, of course, why would I lie against the mother of my children? What do I stand to gain? If not that I'm calling on everybody to help me because I know something has happened to her. That is not the woman I got married to. Is it popularity I'm looking for? What do I need it for? Do you get my point, sir? Do I need to blackmail Suleman? Is that supposed to be my issue at the time? Why will he not give her a branch? He further concretized everything I've been talking about. Can I shock you? Till this night I am granting this interview. From the time my wife left till this night we are talking, Apostle Suleman never reached out to me, never even tried to bring myself and my wife together. No communications, no call. All I saw was that he gave her a branch. Don't forget that he has promised me that if I leave OFM, he gives me 2 years. That my wife will leave me and that I will lose my life. So he has finally taken her from me. So he needs to fund her. They need to settle her. So that's why I gave her the branch.
I'm just trying to take this in and really process it. That he didn't try to counsel you guys to some sort of marriage counseling.
There was never anything like that. If Apostle Suleman never tried to do that, and I am saying publicly today that he never did it, may it not be well with me. There was never anything like that. All these things was a setup to wicked me, to trample on me with impunity, to humiliate me. Because he felt I have nobody. He felt because I'm from a poor background, I have nobody to fight for me, and I'm not as connected as he is. I know a lot of people out there that he has done it to. Do you get my point? But what do they do? Even Omega pastors, most of them presently the ministry, who knows what he has done to them, can't speak up because they fear he brags a lot with his connections and his contacts and all of that. But God is greater than all of us, and God is judge.
So he has done some of this stuff to other pastors. There are pastors or victims that are just quiet right now.
Of course, when the time comes, they will speak up. They are probably warming up.
Because what your step of really bringing this into the public realm would do is to help and encourage other people who have been victims.
Obviously.
Girls who have been victims. There's a lot of them, girls who have been victims. Pastors whose wives have been victims, who lost their wives, and a whole lot of other stuff. Now, you made mention and crying out to certain leaders in your video yesterday, calling on leaders to step in. Let's not even get to the government sort of part of leadership. Let's talk about the side of leadership that has to do with the church. Who do you think can step in? Who does Johnson Suleman sort of like report to? Who is he under? Who advises him?
According to him, he submits to Pastor E.A. Edeboye, who is the father of Pentecostalism in Nigeria. Who is like our father. He's our father now. One thing I know about Pastor E.A. Edeboye is a man of integrity. All right, and I know that Pastor E.A. Edeboye will never support an injustice of this magnitude. He will never support it. That's one thing I can tell you for free. Are you get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
for what I wouldn't know, because he is also a man that hears from God. Let him pray about it. I'm calling on him, and I'm calling on the fathers of faith in Nigeria, the Archbishop Margaret Dausa of Church of God Mission, Bishop Margaret Dausa's wife, who is a mother, and I'm calling on Pastor Dr. Bishop David Oyedipo. I'm calling on Pastor Biome. I'm calling on Dr. Paul Nature of Dunamis. I'm calling on all of them to rise up for me. Because I don't know what else to do. This is a man that I can't fight. I don't know what else to do to be able to get my family back. You see that? So I'm calling on all of them. They can't close their eyes to this injustice. They cannot close their eyes to it. Because one thing I have said, and that I will repeat again, if this is the Christianity they are going to hand over to us, then they should forget it. There will be no Christianity after they are gone. That is the truth. There will be no Christianity after they are gone. There are many things I can't begin to say here online that are going on behind. If you know what is going on, you will stop going to church. So I'm calling on all of them to rise up and look into this matter. I'm not just asking them to listen to me. They should pray about it. Let them ask God what this young man is saying, if there's an element of truth in it.
And what do you want, especially in a country in Nigeria where things are done differently? What do you want the government to, how do you want the government to step in to be able to some sort of mediate or make sure justice prevails?
The only thing I know that I could do from the little counsel I have was to write to the Inspector General of Police. I have written to him and I've pleaded with them to please step in and help me. If not even for just for my family, but for my own safety. Because my life is not safe at the time. If I had the funds, if I had the means, I will leave the country. I will leave Nigeria, like many have done. Because these people will come after you. But these are some of the things he knows, and that's why he's oppressing me. And that's why he's trampling on me with impunity. Because he knows, because I left the ministry with nothing, not even a cover, after serving him for 16 years. I'm having to start my life all over again. So I've pleaded with them. I've written to the police. I'm calling on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm calling on the First Lady. I'm calling on well-meaning Nigerians. I'm calling on everybody to please come to my aid. I can't fight Apostle Johnson Suleman. I'm not as connected as he is. I don't know the contact. I don't have the contact he has. I don't have the connections that he has. I'm a young man who is trying to follow God, who is trying to stand. That is who I am. I may have my weaknesses and all of that. I love God. I truly want to serve God. I finished my school. I didn't work. I dropped my certificate to serve God, to follow Jesus. And this is what I meant. Submitted to a man who I thought, I could have a father in him since my father died. And this is what I get from everything. So I'm calling on everybody that can help to please rise up and stand up for me. To please help me. I'm not asking, have I gone out of line by asking for my family? Have I done anything wrong? All I'm pleading for is I want my family back. That is all I'm asking for. It's not in any way to humiliate Apostle Suleman and all of that. If not because of the threats on my life, I wouldn't even come out. So I'm calling on everybody to please step in whatever way they can to help me recover my family and to please ask Apostle Johnson Suleman to leave me alone. That is all I'm asking.
It must be a very trying time for you, and also very painful. What you've been through, no man deserves to go through that. You get to feel that you are weak as a man. You get to feel that even your masculinity was stripped by another man, by virtue of the fact that he destroyed what you're trying to build, which is your family. And that should never be tolerated at all. That should never be tolerated at all. They are the things that we look at and we ask ourselves and we tell ourselves, no, not this time. But a few questions before we bring it to a close. Some people are asking me, I should speak to your wife and all that. I told you she's not ready to speak. If she's ready to speak, she can inbox me or if you know her, she's ready to speak, she told you, get in touch with me. It's as simple as that. And I will tell you she's not going to speak. You know, I know those kind of things. Even Johnson Suleman, when he came to Johannesburg and took a stripper that he was sleeping with, the stripper even gave me his number. I tried to reach out to him. I tried to, even his wife, she gave me, the stripper was the one that gave me those numbers. Anytime the stripper wants to expose them, he sends money through his brother, who is a pastor here in Johannesburg, and they give it to her. I'm telling you facts here. Just so you know the kind of person that Johnson Suleman. Is it normal for a man to be sleeping with every woman, everywhere, and just anyhow? It's not normal. I don't care how much you love sex as a man. That is a spiritual thing. He needs to sleep with them because that's what is going to keep him, getting more influential, and so he can hypnotize people in church. And you think people are somersaulting and jumping because of the power of God? No, it isn't the power of God. It's the power of Satan. They're going to go back home the same way. Nothing changes. No healing. This is the same man who said he disappeared in Nigeria and appeared in France, or was it somewhere in Italy or wherever, in the airport without a visa? Come on, guys. You see how, you see how much this guy thinks we're stupid. So if you believe in Johnson Suleman, he sees you as a stupid person. That's how he sees people. Because how do you explain what he did to Mike? That now I can do this thing to them and get away with it. I can take his wife and get away with it. If the wife is here, tell her to inbox me. I have an inbox. Tell her to inbox me. Tell her to inbox me now. If you are saying the wife is here, how do you know the wife is here? This is not the woman. This is the woman who never posted the video that she released. And Brother Mike, you've spent time with Suleman, and just like what I've said about Suleman and his occultic practices, you also would really need to get some help. I'm not sure if you've gotten the help to really rid yourself of that, because you operated in that environment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because that's the atmosphere there.
Yeah.
Just like you said in your word, that's not a church. He's not the man of God.
No, he's not. Omega
Family is not. He's not the man of God.
I can say that with all authority.
He's not the man of God.
No, and that was why the first thing, to quickly address that, the first thing I did when I stepped out of the ministry was to go for a long fast. After which I met one of the senior pastors in Nigeria here, who ministered to me, and then, prayed with me, and revoke whatever contaminations and all of that, may have followed me out of that ministry. So it's been a better life for me, after that.
Somebody here is saying that your wife has inboxed me. There's no inbox here. I just checked my inbox. The only inbox I got is from some guy called Tochi Gospel. He said, at your age, see what you're doing. He said, I give you 30 days. Your 2 kids would all die before your eyes. Your time starts now. See what somebody's telling me? My 2 kids would die in front of me. Do you know who I am? Do you know? You think you're talking to another charlatan. You think your witchcraft and your curses will work on me. I read my Bible every day. Please just take your wahala and take it away. This is not you're just a joke. People that will just want to curse and tell you you're going to die. It's just a joke. If you know your scriptures, if you know the authority of Christ that you carry, you will just laugh them off. That's what it is. And I'm sure, Mike, especially the last 24 hours, you've received curses and threats and intimidations. Tell us about those things.
It has been, my Facebook has been flooded, Messenger, people having to call here and there, and there has been a lot of, the abuses is not even something to talk about. But I won't, they are not, I don't have any business with them. They can say whatever they want to say. As a matter of fact, I'm praying for all of them, for their deliverance.
Yes,
and for their freedom, because they have been deceived.
that's
Whoever
correct.
is chatting on Facebook or sending messages to me should either be a member or just, a follower. I was a pastor with Omega for 16 years. I was not just an ordinary pastor. I was part of Apostle Suleman's entourage. Go and ask of Mike Davids. And thirdly, the highest decision-making body in Omega 5 Ministries worldwide is called G11. It's made up of only 11 pastors. I was part of that of that setup. So don't think I'm just some kind of a pastor, who woke up. All the pastors, Omega pastors, they know who is talking. There's no one who will dare come out before publicly to face me. They know who is talking. Mike Davids. I was one of the topmost senior pastors of that ministry. So we know what we know. Do you get my point? They know as much as I know that these things that I'm saying, they know that is the truth. They know. So I don't have time for all these people who don't know, who are just probably who need help. I don't have the energy to start replying them.
Now, finally, and in closing, what sort of help do you desire for you to be able to move forward with your life?
If I can leave this country, that will be the greatest help I'll get. That'll be the greatest help.
Why
I just need to get out of Nigeria.
Why do you want to leave the country?
Because of the kind of a country we are in. Do you get my point? Because of the kind of society we live in, basically. So I need to move on with my life. And first of all, if I'm able to recover my children, I need to be able to plan a life for them. Then we'll probably find a way to just leave the country and all of that. So whatever help I can get at this time, will mean a lot to me. Whatever help I can get will mean a lot to me. Will mean a lot to me. Because when I left, the first thing that started happening to me was that, all my contacts and people who were connected to my life, all of that shut down. I didn't know what happened. It was when I started praying that God started revealing to me that it was operated spiritual. It shut down to the point that even people will call me and say, send me your account details. The moment I send it, that'll be the end. They won't respond again. So it has been a lot of fight spiritually, and all of this is being masterminded so as to get me to come back to the ministry begging. It will never happen. I would rather beg to eat than to go back to that ministry. It will not happen. No matter because how they try to take you away. Yeah, because I will follow Jesus and I will find him.
If you decide to go back today, he would embrace you, just so you can, as usual as they do, so you can say I'm sorry and apologize publicly, so he can make a video out of it.
It's not something to even consider. It's not, forget about that. He knows me very well. That it can't come from Pastor Mike. It can't come from me.
And people are commenting here. They said, Mike, you need to leave the country because your life is in danger.
That's because they know the kind of a country we are in. That's what everybody knows. So anybody who can help in whatever way, maybe you probably help me to plead whatever the way I need help. Since last night, this is not just coming. People who have my private cell phone number has been like, brother, we have to get you out of that country as fast as possible because of the kind of a person you are dealing with. Because these men are dangerous. I said, I know. But when I don't have the means, what do I do in this circumstance?
So if anyone watching and would want to extend a hand of help or advice to Mike, please, you can reach him. Mike Davids, is that it on Facebook?
Yes, Mike Davids.
David's Mike. So David's
just normal David, then S at the back, then Mike.
Yeah.
M-I-K-E.
David with the S. Davids and Mike, M-I-K-E. Please reach out to him, encourage him, advise him, support him in whichever way. That's why we do what we do. Not just we come here and share stories and that's just it. But what is next? How can we hold the hand of the person who's been victimized by another evil person using the platform of the church, which is totally wrong? And that's what we do right here. So we have to really look at it and think about it and say, how do we support? How do we, encourage? But Mike, I really want to thank you for taking the time. to open
No
up
problem.
and to talk to me from here, from Southern Africa here. And I hope that some of you guys who visit the church in Southern Africa, especially in Johannesburg and around South Africa, you know the truth about this person. Or some of you guys in this part of Africa that know this man and you follow him. The man is not a man of God. Do not just think, well, we don't believe Mike. Well, this is not the first and this is not the last. You're going to hear a lot of other stories around the atrocities of this man. So please choose who you follow wisely. Do not follow blindly. But Mike, for your courage, for your boldness, there are a lot of people who are sitting with your kind of story under Apostle, not even Apostle, I've just been calling him Apostle Johnson Suleman, under other ministries who have been abused in the same way as you, but they do not have the courage to come out. Your coming out and sharing your story will go a long way in helping them to come out. The first step in getting justice is actually to talk about these things publicly. And I feel you are on your way to getting justice for what was done to you because you came out and talked about these things. So I really want to thank you and appreciate you. And we pray that God will bless your endeavors. Now that you've said this now, it's going to change your life. It has changed your life.
Yeah.
But I pray that it will not change your life to become worse. It will change your life to become better because you stepped into truth and truth is light. We pray that over you and we pray God's protection over you.
Amen.
That the evils of Suleman will fall, will not succeed. He's evil. We know these people. We pray his protection, that he will be your eyes, he will be your feet, he will be the voice that you hear. Go here, don't go there. He will be the one that will raise the right people to come in and support you. Around Nigeria, outside of Africa, in Africa, that they will support you. So we really want to thank you. And brother, we want to encourage you and we want to apologize even on behalf of the church for what you've experienced. We are part of the church. And if somebody uses the church to abuse people like you, he is misrepresenting us. And we have to apologize to say, look, that's not us, the church. He's not part of the church. So do not get an idea about what the church is through him because he doesn't represent us. So thank you, Mike, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you, sir.
Any last thing you want to say? You're fine?
No, not really. I will continue to pray for everyone who has probably been a victim and for those who are there whose eyes are yet to be opened, that God will bring them, to the knowledge of the truth.
Okay. Thank you very much. God bless you, brother, and
right,
have a wonderful evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you, everyone, for joining me tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please reach out to Mike, inbox him, and talk to him, and extend a hand of help to him, and we would really appreciate that. If his wife wants to speak, I'll bring her here and talk to her. It's not a big deal. We're hearing Mike's side of the story. She has her own side of the story. And Johnson Suleman would have his own side of the story. But the Johnson Suleman that I know even before now is an evil man. An evil man like him, they operate here in Johannesburg also. They are prophets, they are pastors, they are apostles. People like Bushiri, people like them, Zondo, Mboro, all these people, they've done that. Like I said, they taken me to court already. I have legal costs now. You think taking me to court because you have money, you take me to the high court, then it's going to shut me up? No. The court can send me to prison. I would go to prison for this truth. So do not think I'm not afraid to go to prison. I'm not afraid to use everything that I have to pay for my legal costs. I've spent so much of my own money. And even the legal costs that came to me last week, that's why, I said it earlier on. People are like, no, Solomon, let's help you. That's why I put it out here and say, if you want to help with the legal cost, I will appreciate it. 50,000 rand that I need to raise to be able to do that, whichever way God is going to raise it. But if you want to help, you are local, you are international. If you are international, you can do it via PayPal at solomontalks@yahoo.com. That's my email address. Actually, somebody from Canada, a friend yesterday, sent me $500 just to help with the legal cost. People that sent $100, $150. Locally, South Africans are sending rands, 100 rand. Whatever is small, whatever is big, that's up to you. Whatever God lays in your heart. So if you're overseas, PayPal is solomontalks@yahoo.com. If you're local, this is my banking details. This is, I do not have a problem when pastors and men of God raise support, or people in ministry raise financial support. I don't have a problem with it, because we have been supporting missionaries also our lives, because there are a lot that could be done if we support people financially. My problem is when you raise money and then you use it for yourself, to buy clothes, to buy a better car, to pay for this. There's no sense of accountability. You're not good steward with the money that God has given you. You told people this money is supposed to be for legal cost, and then you take the money and spend it on yourself. That is totally lack of good character. And that's not what I represent at all. And we've seen quite a lot of men of God do that, because that's the way it works. Like, no, it's God's money. No, you ask for that money for a certain reason. Use it for that reason, even when no one is watching, when no one is looking. It's important. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you. I'm going to upload this on YouTube. For you guys who are here, you can follow me on YouTube, Solomon's Temple, guys on Facebook, and just go and subscribe. And there's quite a lot of other resources there. And if you're on Facebook, you can also follow me on YouTube, that is. And if you're on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, please follow me on Facebook before we sort out my live broadcast issue, just so you can get the nitty-gritty around everything that I've got together. In case I do a live broadcast, it's not on YouTube, you can always catch it here on Facebook. Thank you so much. God bless you. Obrigado. Eshe, Nagode, Siabonga. God bless you, and have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful morning, whatever part of the world you are.